Haven't taken a moment to check out the Behind the Bricks podcast? It's time to take a listen. The podcast pulls back the curtain at Indianapolis Motor Speedway, touching on topics many of us racing fans know little about. Case in point, this week, Behind the Bricks offers a look behind the scenes of the IU Health Emergency Medical Center at IMS. Joining me this morning is Dr. Julia Visor. She's the Deputy Medical Director for IMS and IndyCar. You're at the center of this week's podcast. Tell me about the path you took to a career in medicine / motorsports.
Sure. So I knew I wanted to do medicine, way before I even knew I wanted to do motorsports medicine. But I discovered that passion in medical school. I was very interested in motorcycle racing, believe it or not.
Okay.
And I thought about how can I combine two of my passions together. And I started working on this path and, interviewing for residencies. This is something I brought up. And even then I was talking, I want to start a motorsports medicine fellowship. This is my dream. This is where I want to end up. And the faith brings me together with Dr. Billows, and we introduce ourselves. It's a 30-second interaction, and I said, Dr. Billows, so nice to meet you. My dream is to start motorsports medicine fellowship. And he says, me too. I'm actually working on that already. Let's stay in touch. And as I worked through residency, I came and I rotated with IU Emergency Medicine Residency elective for motorsports medicine at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway during the month of May. It was fascinating. I loved it. I knew that this is something that I wanted to do.
So it was perfect that you found this mentor. It almost sounds like predestiny.
Sure does, doesn't it? Yeah.
It's amazing. Now, and you're doing this yourself now. You've brought another fellow into the fold,
yes.
and you're serving as a mentor to them. Tell us about that.
That's right. So Dr. Billows did start the fellowship, and I was the first fellow to go through. And this is the first fellowship in the world in motorsports medicine. And after I graduated, we elected next candidate. And yes.
I want to take a moment. Let's go to the podcast and just show a little clip of what you are in for if you tune in.
We want to give you an opportunity to see what's inside this building that was actually built in 1947-48 and has been here since then. It is the oldest building inside the Speedway. Our oldest building is the barn.
We see a lot of the routine issues like asthma, diabetic emergencies, chest pain, heart attacks, we even have strokes. And we can deal with most anything that comes here. We're not a full-service hospital, but we can stabilize more serious conditions before we transport downtown.
And Dr. Visor, you were making a really good point a moment ago when you and I were talking, that on race day of the Indianapolis 500, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway becomes the second largest city in the state of Indiana.
That's right. So we are prepared to take care of any emergencies that arise. A city of that size, more than 300,000 guests that we get, we're ready to take care of any diabetic emergencies, stroke, heart attacks. We start the workup, we stabilize the patient, and we're able to transport them to IU Health Methodist Hospital where the care continues.
And you take care of the race car drivers too?
And we do, and we have a separate area for our drivers, and we see essentially every driver who has an incident is unable to drive away from the scene. And whether it's just an evaluation and a screening or something a little bit more serious, we're there for them.
She is Dr. Julia Visor. Take a moment, folks. Check out the Behind the Bricks podcast.